The virtual doors are now officially open for a multi-stream machine, and we are thrilled because you know what this means?
It means you can grab our exact turnkey system to 2x to 4x your sales and grow your revenue streams to create a sustainable business that makes you money in months, not years.
It means you can go from a business with sales trickling in to a stable and growing business, one that supports itself and contributes to your income. Not only does this sound crazy exciting, but it is phenomenal. We've seen thousands of fellow product business owners thrive during these uncertain times because they have created two things in their business.
Stability and options. It means 2020 will not stop you from growing your sales and revenue streams. The three important areas of a successful entrepreneur to-do list are create opportunities for more sales in more places, create repeatable systems that save you time and money, create visibility that creates awareness where your customers are actually buying. But where do you start?
That's where multi-stream machine comes in. We give you the step-by-step solutions, minus the guesswork, to transform your business and ultimately your life into the life you want. So Jacqueline, how does multi-stream machine work?
Well, it's a Netflix and binge style implementation program where you get access to the full course all at once because you know we hold nothing back. That means you'll get a complete step-by-step instruction so you can take action immediately and make money immediately.
And here's what you'll learn. You'll learn how to make more sales, grab more visibility, and generate revenue from your products across multiple platforms. And these will work for you even during a year like 2020.
So, what are you waiting for? Multi-stream machine is open, but only for a very limited time. Click on the link in the show links or head to multistreammachine.com.
We'll see you over there. Welcome to the Product Boss Podcast, where we help product-based businesses grow their sales and improve their strategies.
Hey everyone, I want to introduce you to my co-host and biz bestie, Minna an Amazon guru that has built a multi-six-figure product-based business.
And introducing the other half of the Product Boss, Jacqueline Snyder. She has helped launch and grow over 500 fashion apparel and accessory brands, even one of her own.
And together, we share our inventory of secret weapons that will help you dig deep and do the work it takes.
Are you ready? Let's build together.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Product Boss Podcast. I'm your host, Jacqueline Snyder, with my New Year, New You co-host, Minna Kunlo-Sitep. Hey, Minna.
Hey, Jacqueline.
Can you believe we made it to 2021?
I can believe it because it feels like a decade that we've lived in this past year. So thank goodness we have turned the corner.
Congratulations, everybody, for entering a new year. So we've discussed this isn't a light switch. It's not going to turn on and off like a light switch. It's going to be a bit of a dimmer switch where things are going to dimmed down, dimmed up. But the thing is about 2021 that we're seeing in our community and with our students is that there is hope on the horizon. We see light at the end of the tunnel, which we've been talking to you about since March of 2020, that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and all of the work you've done and all of this time together has really set your business up for success.
Yeah, I think, when you think about the dimmer switch, it's like that contraction and the expansion, right? And I really love the turn of the year because you really focus on the expansion part, right? The potential, the possibility, the things that could happen for you on a personal level, but on a business level as well. Like what could happen in a new year? It's magical. Especially, I know it's not a light switch, but definitely focusing on the expansion is going to be really inspiring.
Absolutely. So we're going to share with you our new year profit building framework in this episode. Now, we are just coming out of some incredible live workshops that we've done with our masterminders where we've used these tools with them, this profit building framework with them as well. And we're going to share it with you. And we're also on the heels of wrapping up our bestseller secrets challenge and multi-stream machine doors. If you're listening to this in real time, will be opening on the 15th of January?
Yes. So tomorrow, after you listen to this episode, they'll be opening for a brief time. And it's always exciting because Actually, we've never opened doors in January.
You're
That's
right.
one of the really exciting things about this time is that imagine just getting to kick off the year with such a huge tool and hitting the ground running and setting yourself up for the rest of the year. So it's really exciting because of that it's opening even in January.
Yeah, so Multi-Stream Machine is our implementation program. It's our signature course for all of you. If you're interested in it, you could head to multistreammachine.com. It's incredible and it's helped people grow. Now, what we're going to do in this episode in our profit building framework is we're actually going to pull something from one of our most popular courses and workshops that we've ever had, which is the 90-day roadmap. Now, this 90-day roadmap is actually a bonus if you sign up for Multi-Stream Machine, and people try to pay us for this bonus outside of investing into the course. And it is such a special thing, but it is solely given to those of you that sign up as a pay in full bonus for Multi-Stream Machine. So this is incredible. People have said it's worth the entire price of the course. We're going to give you a little preview into the framework in which we teach this. And if you're really into it and you want to be like so many other people in our community and our students, if you sign up for Multi-Stream Machine, you also get access to this 90-day roadmap with a pay in full option.
Yeah, it's a really simple and powerful way to break down how to be a profitable business. And I think it's easy to think of it in 90-day sections because of the quarters of, business or quarters of the year and seasons of a business. But it just really, this episode is going to be, like Jacqueline said, a little preview of that. But just imagine going through the whole thing because we're just going to kind of dip our toe into what that could look like for you in a 90-day roadmap sort of way. But the people that do end up getting this as a bonus in Multi-Stream Machine, they will really be able to catapult the things that we're going to talk about in this episode and take it to a new level.
Yeah, we've talked to you about in previous episodes about goal setting, setting your goals for the year, especially right now, let's call it 2021, and reverse engineering, like backing into your goal. What do you need to do? So the other thing we often talk about is every 90 days, which is a quarter, right? And this 90-day roadmap has really helped put it more into bite-sized ways of you all thinking about how are you going to hit your goals. And when we create that 90-day roadmap, it's to help you create more profits. And it's by using our framework of systems, visibility, and sales. We call it SVS, or systems, visibility, and sales. And if you've been with us for any amount of time, you've heard us talk about this because we believe that this framework and this foundation is really at the core and essential for you to focus on as a product-based business owner. And that's what we're going to dig into.
Yeah, if you can think of it as levers that you're pulling, imagine just being able to just think of those 3 levers that you're pulling to create profit in your business. And that's what we're really going to be talking about today.
Right. So one of the first things that we do is we like to recap. So as you're, heading into this year, into this new year, we'd love for you to recap and look at last year's data or evaluate your systems, your visibility, and your sales. And this is absolutely something that we talk about in the 90-day roadmap that you get as a bonus in Multi-Stream Machine. And like we said, we're going to share a bit of it with you here. So as you look back at 2020, now we know 2020 was a dumpster fire, but also like such a cash injecting machine too. Like it felt crazy, but it was actually one of the best years in terms of revenue growth for a lot of our students. But as we could see what happened, especially coming out of the busiest time of year, which is the holidays, look at your systems. Did anything break in your systems? Was your inventory hard to make or manufacture? Do you have the right team for where you want to go, the goals you're going to hit? And are there any processes that need to be improved? Or is there anything that happened that was like an uber costly mistake?
Yeah. So in this case, you're evaluating your systems, right? What worked, what didn't work. You're recapping it, kind of doing a, debrief on what made sense for systems, because that is really important as you step into this recap. And then next, looking at visibility, you're reevaluating what happened there. Where are my customers, right? So you're asking yourself, where are my customers? What did they seem to engage with more during this past year or season of your business? What didn't feel right for your brand messaging? This one is really important because you want to make sure you feel aligned in your brand messaging. What did you love to do, and what type of promotions worked well, and who was great to work with? So even with visibility, there's partners, strategic partners that you work with, perhaps influencers or co-branders or other fellow product-based businesses that will help you grow in this time as far as visibility, because there's an overlap. So that in that case, it's who was great to work with as far as visibility.
Mm-hmm. And then the last lever is sales, right? So what were your numbers? Have you looked at your numbers yet? What were your busy months? How many units did you sell? What was the price per unit? What didn't sell well? What are your best sellers? That's absolutely what we've been going through in this 5-day challenge of Bestseller Secrets Challenge is what are your best sellers? How do you do more of what's working? So as you all think about this, if you're doing this in real time, you can pause the podcast right now and kind of just do a quick recap for yourself. Maybe you want to journal this somewhere that you can come back to, or do a quick download in your brain or talk it through. Whatever you need to do, we want you to kind of recap the 3 levers, the framework of what we're teaching you, which is systems, visibility, and sales.
Right. So
Okay.
Go ahead and pause, and then we're jumping right back in.
Okay. So then next what we want to do is then we want to talk to you about your big goal, right? So all of you have probably set some sort of revenue goal for the year. And when you're looking at that revenue goal, now listen, it doesn't matter how much money you make if you're not profitable.
Mm-hmm.
Money in, money out, it's like calories, right? Like it's like you eat as much as you want, and if you exercise, if you exercise, then those calories go, right? But it doesn't matter how much revenue. I remember back in the day when I started working with a coach with my first mastermind, the question was, I was like, I'm a $500,000 business. And they're like, well, that's amazing. And then I was like, and I am $50,000 in debt. I have no profit. And they're like, well, that's not so amazing.
Right. That's where the numbers really come into play. That's why we do the recap, because then it just starts making sense, right? When you know your numbers, you start taking control of your business. And that's really what we're trying to do in this framework. And what Jacqueline is talking about is having that big goal. We go off a financial goal because it's the easiest one to wrap your mind around, right? It's kind of what does your life look like, but what is your revenue goal? We talked about this in the other podcast episode of the myth about goal setting, working your way backwards from it, right? And we go to that episode, we'll link it in the show notes, but it talks about good, better, best. In this case, we're just going to generalize it. There's this overall big revenue goal that you want to hit. And that is your set number. It could be 100,000, it could be 1,000,000, it could be 50,000. What is that number? Make it so it's actually put to paper, right? It's an exact number that you're trying to reach, a target.
And then I brought up my story because no matter what that target is, we want you to be profitable. That's the whole point of this framework. And a lot of times, profit is drained in systems. So we've done an episode where it's like the holes in your boat, and if your systems are failing, while you may feel like you're moving forward and your boat's floating and you're going, you have no idea that it's actually, sinking down below, like water is filling your boat. So when we think about systems, no matter what our goal is, we want to make sure that your systems are saving you money.
Right.
And then your visibility, right? These 3 levers, again, that visibility is you're pushing your potential customers towards you, right? You're pulling them in or getting in front of them. And that will be eventual money. Because remember, we need eyes on you need connection, you need relationships, you need to have a warm audience or eyes on your product to eventually be able to sell to them. And then sales is making money. Right. That's the cash. But you could be making as much money as you want. But if you've got these holes draining your money and your profit out the bottom, it's a wash. You might even be going into debt.
Yeah, I love that because we're really applying this framework, these 3 levers, to the idea of profit. Again, systems saves you money. Visibility gives you potential, possible, eventual money. And then sales makes you money. That's money in your pocket, right? So when we say pushing potential money for visibility, I think of it as like stuffing your pipeline. They used to say that, right? That saying of stuff your pipeline to make sure you have eventual money, and you have to get in front of the right people. So we're going to dig into that more when it comes to these 3 levers.
Mm-hmm. So now let's talk about what a goal would look like. Now, remember, we will help you create this roadmap on how to take these goals and compound this effect and meet your goals of your systems, your visibility, and your sales in the 90-day roadmap. So if you want access to all of that, you can head to multistreammachine.com. You can sign up for it. And if you do the pay in full, you get this as a bonus completely free. It's incredible, but we're going to help you get started right now. So when we think about this, we want to jump into your SVS goals, your systems, visibility, and sales goals. So first, let's talk about what a systems goal would be.
Yeah, this is exactly what Jacqueline was talking about of where are your holes. So the goal of a systems goal is the goal should decrease your holes, right? You're increasing your profit. So it creates the ability for you to scale efficiently and ensure there is an actual profit being made. Systems are where there's actual profit being made, right? Because you're making sure there's no holes where profit is leaking out. So Jacqueline, what are some examples of some systems goals?
Right. So if you sell on Amazon, so for all our multi-stream machine students that are out there already that we've helped get onto Amazon, because that is one of the sections that we can help you with within our implementation program. You may have cleaned up your Amazon or your website listings, right? It might be something that you realize that system is not converting to sales. And so that system needs to be cleaned up. You also may take inventory of what you have to sell, right? We talk about knowing your numbers. If you don't know the product that you have, if you don't know how much of that you have, you don't really have a target or a goal of like how to sell and what to sell. You may also create brand guidelines and have a consistent photo library. You may also double check your pricing across your platforms, making sure your pricing is correct. And you also can assess your own team roles. Are you a bottleneck? Is there somebody that's a bottleneck in your business? You may be the solopreneur right now doing all the things, and you might realize that you can't grow, right? You can't become profitable right now if you're the sole person doing it all and you're becoming a bottleneck. So it's just a really good place to assess how to decrease those holes in your business.
Yeah. And like a system, if you had a system set up for shipping, do you need to hire somebody on to help you because that is very inefficient the way that you're doing it, for example, right? Mm-hmm. By yourself, doing all the things.
And, so many of our multi-stream machine students have worked on their systems. It's one of the very first things they tackle. And so remember, your systems goal is usually something where you're cleaning up your assets, like your photos, your inventory, or your standard operating procedures. You may also be cleaning up your shipping. How are you doing that? Can you save money in a way? Your fulfillment process or the partners you're working with, your pricing, which is a huge thing. I know so many of our students, our multi-stream machine students, like have these major aha moments because they realize that their prices aren't reflecting what their actual costs are and their operating expenses. And that's where that profit is drained, right? If you're not making money on your product, then what are you doing? And then also, like we talked about, like your internal team, the communication or processes, like what do you need to do with your systems as that goal?
Right. Which moves us to the second lever. And this one is super exciting because this is all about amplifying your reach, right? What people think of as visibility and brand awareness. So visibility is creating brand awareness to customers who might not know you even exist, or to amplify where you could be showing up better. So really showing up in a better way. You're putting yourself in front of your customers where they are. Right. So again, amplifying your reach. So Jacqueline, what are some examples here of a visibility goal?
Right. So sometimes this can be, a revenue generating one as well, but sometimes it's not. It's for visibility, which would be getting into a subscription box for brand awareness. You may collaborate with another business or influencer on Instagram. You may participate in some sort of trunk show, live event, trade show. There's so many options right now, virtually as well as in person. You might need to work on growing your email list. Hint, hint. Probably everybody.
Yeah, always.
Always. And another thing that so many of you are always focused on is growing your following on Instagram. So Instagram and email lists sometimes can work together in that visibility goal. But what is that goal? How do you amplify your reach?
Right. And some things to think about when you're thinking about visibility and your visibility goal is that we like to say you are a star in the universe. How are people going to find you, right? How are they even going to know you exist? And how are you going to be more visible? So this usually refers to just expanding your reach. So it could be growing via social, via search engines, on your email, getting in front of them in your email, in in-person interactions or events, and getting in front of other people's audiences by way of like collaborations, affiliations or affiliates, or marketing partnerships. So all of that leads to gaining this brand awareness of your existence, right? You're getting in front of people's eyes.
Mm-hmm. And then this leads us to our third lever, which is sales goal. So this goal should create your revenue, right? And it contributes to your overall 12-month revenue goal. So what does your sales goal do? It creates cash flow in your business, and it builds your ability to create growth by leveraging your sales and platforms for more sales and more expansion. So Minna, what are some examples of sales goals?
Well, usually we like to think of those goals as things that we can track, right? That are measurable. So getting onto Amazon and making the initial 50 sales, right? Then you know you're making some revenue. You could have an exclusive email list sale to your existing customers, right? That's pulling in some revenue from your existing customers. It could also be maybe promoting a new product and pushing traffic to it. So how are you going to, that's a visibility thing, but also promoting something new where you know potentially that could be bringing in revenue with whatever traffic you're getting to it.
Absolutely. And, something that you talked about really quickly in there was that idea of having a number. So a lot of times we'll ask our students in Multi-Stream Machine, or even our masterminders, will ask them like, well, what's your goal? What's your 2-week goal? What's your push goal? What is it? And they'll say, I want to get onto Amazon, right? Or I want to have an email sale that I sell to customers. But we push them a bit further to give a number, 50 sales, or I want to have an email sale and hit $5,000 in revenue from that email. Or I want to promote a new product and I want to sell 100 units in the next 30 days, right? When you give yourself a number to attach to it, you have somewhere to focus. That way, if you've sold 50, you know you have 50 more to sell. And what do you need to do to make that happen? So again, a sales goal, is how are you going to make more money? And this is usually about taking your big revenue goal and breaking it down into quarters, hence the 90-day roadmap. And when can you make more money and how can you do it with do you have to bundle things? Do you have to get onto more sales platforms? Do you have to increase your average sale price? Do you have to sell more to your existing customers, etc.? So what do you need to do to hit your sales goal, and when would be the best time to do it?
Right. So when you put those all together, right, because sales, we're really talking about the money making. Like we said, it's when you're making money in the pocket. That's when it's easier for people to wrap their minds around because that's the revenue coming in. But there's things that happen, levers that you pull that you need to pull because they help you make more sales. Hence the visibility of gaining the awareness and the systems being efficient because it saves you money, and ultimately saving money is making money. So these all tie together for you to become more profitable within 90 days, and really thinking of it in that lens. In 90 days, what can I do in my SVS goal, systems, visibility, and sales, that would pull that all together in the amount that my big revenue goal was broken up into with a quarter.
Absolutely. So we would love for you to think about this as you're going into this year, right? As you still have all this time, we're still fresh at the beginning of the year and we still have these big plans for ourselves, and we want to think, well, what do I need to do in my business? And I want you to remember, are you profitable? And are you pulling these 3 levers? Are you thinking about them in terms of assessing, looking back, and also looking forward? What do you have to work on? Because I also want to remind you all, you can't do it all, and you can't do it all at once. Mm-hmm. And that's what we help you try and figure out, really figuring out what you need to focus on right now. What's your first next step? And it's not everything all at once. So you might have a long list of I need to work on my visibility, and these are the 10 things I need to do there. I need to work on my sales, and these are the 10 things I need to do there. Great. I'm so glad that you've identified those. Now we need to break them down into projects and actual goals that you can set and hit incrementally throughout the year.
Yeah, it makes you a well-oiled machine. It streamlines what you're already doing. Because imagine, right, you said, you can't do it all at once, but imagine that still creates movement even if you're working on just visibility and it's not sales, right? And you're working on systems and it's not sales, but no matter what, it comes down to profit, like what Jacqueline said. Are you profitable?
Absolutely. So keep our voices in your head as you're thinking about the choices that you're making in your business. And while we want you to be revenue generating machines, we also want you to be profitable businesses, because that's ultimately going to set you up for the life and the business that you dream of and imagine.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. One last thing before we go. We created this podcast as a reminder you are not alone in this. Growing a product business is hard, and we want to help you through it. So thank you so much for listening, and we truly appreciate it.
We really do. And we want to give a special shout out to all of you that have left us a review. Thank you. Minna and I read each and every one of them. And it includes this one as well from Ian Plain. It says, take your small business to the next level. Always great tidbits and takeaways in their podcast. If you have a product-based business, this podcast is for you. Down to earth, honest, and motivational. Well, thank you, Ian, for leaving this incredible review. We so appreciate it. And it really helps us reach more people when you leave a positive review for the podcast. So thank you so much.
Hey friend, Minna here. If you're listening to this in real time, I wanted to let you know that the doors are open to Multi-Stream Machine for a very brief time. We get a ton of questions about our signature course, Multi-Stream Machine. So allow me to paint a picture for you. Imagine if you could build a sustainable and thriving business that can not only support itself, but also pay you the salary of your dreams. Imagine if you had a clear roadmap in all things Product Boss, so you can create plans and sell more without it being so hard and confusing. Imagine if you could get more customers to easily find you and buy from you without spinning your wheels or being stuck on social media. That's why we created Multi-Stream Machine for product-based business owners just like you, to help you 2x to 4x your sales and to grow your revenue streams to create a sustainable business that makes you money in months and not years. Multi-Stream Machine is all about action and implementation. It's a course that will tell you exactly what to do without the guesswork and without the heavy lifting of figuring it out all on your own. It's relieving, it's inspiring, and most of all, it's profitable. So what are you waiting for? Head over to www.multistreammachine.com or click on the link in the show notes to check it out before the doors close. I'll see you over there.